And I think it also gives me like a flashbacks from the beginning. We need to be agile. We need to be flexible in order to
Exactly.
survive.
That's exactly what I wanted to pick up as well.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Ian. I'm the ecosystem lead at Mighty DAO, and I will be your host for today's event. So it's 10:01 at the moment, Taipei time, of course, GMT +8, and we are about to begin. Okay. So it is a wonderful time to meet all of you here. First of all, I would like to thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I hope this X-Space interview provides inspiration for your career paths. I would also like to invite you to share your insights after this interview on X afterwards. Let's grow together. Before I introduce our guest, I would like to take a moment to give you a brief introduction about Mighty DAO. Mighty DAO core mission is to connect high-quality talents with opportunities in the Web3 industry. We bridge the gap between skilled professionals and positions across the Web3 landscape and offering the latest insights in the field. Today marks the 4th episode of our Inside Web3 Career series, and it will also be our very first interview conducted entirely in English for our global audience. We're thrilled to welcome Wen, a seasoned business development executive at Circle. Circle is the company that issues the USDC, which makes it very important in the Web3 industry. With extensive experience in business development, Wen excels in helping companies reach their goals. Today, she will be sharing her experience as a business development executive at Circle. Hello, Wen. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, everyone. Ian, thanks for the kind introduction. As you mentioned, I'm Wen. I'm from Germany, born and educated there. And for my master's, I moved to Korea and lived there for a while. And yeah, now I moved to Singapore and I joined Circle last year in May.
Great. Thank you for your introduction. We can get to know you a little bit more. Now, let's move on. I'm very interested in learning what you're going to share with us. I would like to ask you, firstly, how did you transit from Web 2 to Web 3? And what challenges did you face during this shift as a BD?
That's a great question, Ian. So yeah, I started my career at a financial robo-advisor in Frankfurt. And at some point, I applied for a Web3 course at Frankfurt School back then, thanks to my friend Max, who encouraged me to apply. Yeah, ever since then, I joined the Web3 community in the DACH region, which is basically the German-speaking region, including Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And yeah, then I started working for a German Web3 company who was facilitating digital asset trading for institutions. And after that, I collaborated with a crypto robo-advisor on my dissertation and was writing on stablecoin risk management. And at that time, that was also my first time hearing about Circle. And yeah, that's how I transitioned from Web 2 to Web 3. And in terms of challenges, I don't see many challenges per se. I just encourage people to be open-minded and agile because this industry is very fast-moving. And yeah.
Thank you for your sharing. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you have finance background, isn't it?
So I didn't do finance degrees. I was majoring in digital business management, and back then we were talking about disruptive technologies, and one of them were blockchain technology, and yeah, basically the whole like financial ecosystem in Web3 is based on that. So that definitely helped with progressing my career in Web3.
So would you say that your education in Frankfurt actually helped you in mastering your skills in Web3 during the transition period?
Yeah, it definitely gave me a high level overview on like what this technology is, but there was also a lot of like own research involved. So definitely it helped, but it was a good base basically. Yeah.
Okay. So that is basically a foundation for you to start in building up your expertise in Web3, and then your education, your previous experience starting to fall in place when you join Circle. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, let's move on. So, my next question is, before you becoming a Web3 BD, what were your expectations of this role, and how did they compare with the reality? For example, what kind of skills are needed, and how did you develop them? Because I think it's very relevant for all of our listeners if they want to become a BD.
Sure, I'm happy to share more about that. So I have to say my expectations met reality. So I expected it to be a very fast-growing industry, which it is. I feel like I'm learning new things every day, and also with the evolving like regulation and all of that in multiple jurisdictions, I feel like this industry is really like growing. And it's good to see traction as well. And yeah, in terms of skills, I would say networking skills are very important. Basically networking skills, people skills, because this industry is still growing. So it is always good to meet people and learn from these people. And yeah, I think going to conferences, like attending, like speaking sessions like these are very helpful in terms of growing your network.
Thank you. This might be a side question. So you mentioned about regulations. How do you see the regulation landscape in Europe or in Asia right now, and how does the regulation impact the BD position in your perspective?
Well, I'm not the perfect person to speak to this, but what I can say is that we see that there's regulation forming, and we're growing with this as well. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And also I'm quite interested, since you mentioned that we need to approach and talk to a lot of people as a BD. You mean as a successful BD, you need to talk to a lot of people, being adaptable, being agile in this position. Can you give me a more like a specific example? How did you perform as a BD using the skills that you mentioned, and how to excel it?
So basically, I try to attend as many networking events as I can. I meet a lot of people. I speak to them. I learn about them as a person, but also like about like what they do in Web3. Because like there's so many people with so many ideas out there. Like there are new projects every day. So, I definitely think that speaking to a lot of people can, widen your horizon.
So, can I make a conclusion like this? Being a successful BD, you would definitely need to broaden your connections, regardless whether you can see the benefits at the moment or not, because it's a learning process.
Well, I definitely think that connecting with people is always helpful. I always say your work is your net worth. So, as a BD, it's definitely good to, be connected to the ecosystem, knowing what are the newest trends. Because as this industry is growing, there's also not like a, cookie cutter with a perfect like deal structure. You always have to be creative and think about like how can I work with that partner. And usually like these brainstorming ideas come from like talking to as many people as you can.
Thank you. I think everyone can take some note right now. So, your network is your net worth. That is very, I was a very mind blowing in a very good way. So yeah, thanks for your sharing. Let's move on. So my next question is that, can you please describe your typical day in a live as a BD in Web3 industry? And how is your day usually structured? Like, we all love that kind of like a day in my live video. Can you just give all the audience a little bit introduction?
Yeah, sure. I actually love that question. So I would say my typical day is not that typical because every day looks different in the Web3 space. So yeah, I think the most remarkable is that we work pretty much remotely, meaning that we have an office, but like we can decide to work from home or like basically wherever we have a laptop and internet. So usually I wake up to messages from other time zones because as a fairly like global company, we have cross-functional teams everywhere like in the world. So I usually wake up from messages from other time zones, and also like that also shows that Web3 never sleeps, right? And yeah, so basically I check my emails, I have calls with APAC, and then in the afternoon I have calls with Europe, and then in the evening I'll have calls with the US again. And so sometimes my days start at like 6:30 a.m. And have my last call at like around 11 p.m. So yeah, truly Web3 never sleeps, and I manage my life around this I guess like schedule. And when there are like conferences, then as a BD we attend many conferences, just like, for example, 2 weeks ago, I was at Hong Kong Fintech Week. Last week, I was attending Singapore Fintech. And yeah, we would host events, we would travel, we would network, we would meet partners. And yeah, usually we would meet like through video calls, but like during conferences, we meet a lot of partners in person. So I would say like this is a typical, not so typical day. And yeah, I've been enjoying it very much.
Great. So I did note it down that you mentioned that there are a lot of differences in your day. So I'm actually wondering, how do you adjust the differences? Because as a BD, I'm pretty sure there are gonna be a lot of surprises in your daily routine. How did you manage that?
That's a very good question. Yeah, it's very dynamic, so there's always changes, and I basically think that it is helpful to be agile and open-minded, as I mentioned earlier. Just like be open to changes, and just on the fly, just improvise. And I'm sure like as a BD, you'll be able to manage the situation.
Great. And also, you mentioned about that you will need to coordinate with people from different countries in different time zones. And then you mentioned that sometimes your working hours can be as long as 12 or even more hours. How did you manage the work-life balance as a BD?
Yeah, so for example, if my calls start at 6:30 a.m., then I do my like parts of that stuff during like the AM, and then maybe like during lunch or like afternoon I will manage my personal life, and then in the evening I will come back online. So I'm basically managing my life around my work schedule. So yeah, that's been very it's been going really well, and I enjoy this type of I guess like schedule.
Great. I guess it also relates to the important skills that you mentioned before, being agile, right? So it's not only agile in your working place, but also agile in your daily routine.
Yeah, being flexible is definitely helpful. Yeah, I would say.
Okay, thank you. So my next questions is that what are the goals and key outcomes for a Web3 BD? How do you manage success in this position?
That's a good question. So, as a BD, obviously in every company, you're looking to find partners to close deals. And while every department has their different KPI, but yeah, in the end, like we are working towards like mass adoption, and we work as a whole unit. So yeah, what I can say is like we are growing with the industry.
So you are saying that the goals and key outcomes as a Web3 BD is to grow with the industry and being flexible. That's the main message you try to send out.
Yeah, so I can say as a personal like opinion is that we are always looking for partnerships that can grow the ecosystem, and we seek for like mutual goals with like our partners to achieve, you know, mass adoption, and that's what we're striving for.
So basically, I would say, if I say being a successful BD, does it mean that you're not only looking for partnership? If you can expand the ecosystem in this business, it would also mark as a success. Am I right?
Yeah, basically, yeah, growing the ecosystem, I guess, is a synergy of everyone in this space.
Do you have any specific example in your mind right now that you, like maybe a case that you excel pretty well as a successful experience?
So while I cannot go into the details, but definitely like each department has a different KPI, and they have like different set of partners that they are targeting basically. And so each department would you know, like find those partners and talk with them, see how they can work together, and each deal could look different, and would each KPI look different as well. So yeah.
Okay, got it. If I dig deeper, it's gonna be too secret. It's okay. I'm gonna stop here, but I'm pretty sure the message got crossed. So basically, be flexible, be agile, and try to expand connections, either through potential partnerships or connections in other, maybe like industry or other fields to expand the ecosystem. If we can do all of them, well, then it will make us a very good BD, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Okay, thank you. My next question is that, which part of your job do you enjoy the most? Since I can smell your enthusiasm as a BD, so can you share like the part of your job you enjoy the most and what makes it so interesting or fulfilling for you?
I like that question because what I enjoy the most is traveling around to meet all sorts of people from around the world. Like personally speaking, I am a fan of traveling anyway. So being able to travel for work and attend all these conferences, being like invited to networking events, it's just very eye-opening and very fun. You not just like learn about the industry, but you also learn about like different cultures. You learn people's story and how they got into Web3. And I think that is very interesting. And what I mentioned earlier as well is like it's very interesting that each day is different. And you constantly learn about new projects that came up during, you know, last night, or like projects that are like developing in the ecosystem. And because it's so dynamic, I feel like this is a very fulfilling part for me.
Great. Thanks for your sharing. You mentioned about that your love of different cultures and the as a VD gives you the opportunity to travel around the world. I'm actually quite curious about this. So, how do you think the your exposure in different cultures, so basically the cultural differences, play a role in your BD position? Does it help, or it is basically just two parallel lines?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps to have exposure to multiple cultures because it helps you to connect with people. If you know about their culture, like what I like to say first is like first get to know the person before you talk about any business. Like first get to know about the person, like what are they like, and what is their culture? Can you talk to them about this? Or like, do you understand how people connect or network in that culture? I think, yeah, definitely knowing multiple cultures can be a benefit.
Great. Because it seems like from your introduction, you have been to and have lived in various different countries, right? How can you give me a more like specific example? How do you think your maybe like your European experience help in establishing like a multicultural connections with other partners or expanding the ecosystem? I'm sorry if the topic, if the question is too difficult, let me know. I will try to elaborate it a little bit more.
Yeah, sure. I think I got the key message. So, yeah, I was born in Germany, but my parents are Chinese, so I grew up being exposed to the Western culture, but also to the Eastern, like Asian culture. So I think that part definitely like help with I guess like adjusting to Singapore, because right now I'm basically living in both cultures. Like I'm living in Asia, I'm exposed to many Asian cultures, but at the same time, the like Western part of me is able to adapt to the Western culture in Singapore. So definitely living in multiple places and also like traveling to many parts of the world, like helpful to understand multiple cultures, like how they connect and how they act. Like it's definitely it's definitely a helpful, I guess, like experience, I would say.
Great. Thank you. I can see that your multicultural experiences definitely adds like important fields in your life and then makes you a very experienced BD. I assume that, this is just my assumption, that your multicultural skills sometimes can make it easier for you to connect with specific types of partnership, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. So I like to say that I'm like a chameleon. So I can adjust to the situation that I'm in. And I think, yeah, that's definitely helpful when you're interacting with different cultures.
Okay, thank you. We spent a lot of time discussing culture. Let me just move on to the next question, huh?
Sure.
So, my next question, is that, so what are your future plans, for yourself as a Web3 BD? Are you expecting anything new in this industry, or do you have any specific plans for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm very keen to explore different parts of Web3, like moving from Web 2 to Web 2.5 to Web 3. Like I feel like there's a lot to explore and a lot to try out in this industry. As the industry grows, there are new opportunities coming with it. And I think what I want to do is also to, like explore this industry and be creative in terms of finding solutions to solve a certain challenge. As the industry grows, there's always new tools coming up as well.
Um, we all know that there are a lot of like different branches in this Web3 world. Is there any specific branches or industry in Web3 that you uh like specifically want to dig deep into? Let's not talk about the USDC, USDT, that kind of industry. How about the others?
With others, you mean like, for example, supply chain management, or those, or like, what are you, what
Any type of the industry or companies that you are thinking of, you are interested in. So any types related to Web3, any types.
So I think I mean in Web3, besides finance, there's also gaming. So I think gaming is an interesting part, like how people use Web3 technology in gaming. That's very interesting to me. So maybe I would explore that at some point.
Great. Gaming, you mean GameFi, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
okay. Great. I'm also quite interested in GameFi. It sounds like a very, being able to combine the entertainment and finance and blockchain. It seems like all the cool like aspects combine all together. It's just my
Yeah,
perspective.
exactly.
Okay. My next question, which is the last question that I have at the moment. So, for those who are looking to transition into a Web3 world, say BD, what advice would you offer to them in order for them to prepare at this stage?
Yeah, I can definitely speak out of my personal experience. I encourage people to connect with industry leaders on LinkedIn or like at networking events. And especially in Asia, like if you want to be a Web3 BD in Asia, I highly encourage people to go network, because in Asia, especially, like relationships are very important, and so like making those connections and making the effort, the extra step to meet people actually means a lot. I think what else is important is to understand the company that you want to work for. Like, find your niche and understand to the core what they are trying to do, what their mission and vision is. And I would like to, like, at this point, I would like to quote one of my mentors. He mentioned that, what makes you unique? So basically, he said, make it hard for them to not hire you. So I believe like this is like one of the best advices I've ever received from one of my mentors. And I think he's right. Like, basically find your niche, define your worth, and show that you can contribute and that you can help. And I think that's what people appreciate when you're looking, for a job in general. And out of personal experience in Singapore, like, don't be shy to reach out to people and connect with them and set up a coffee chat. In general, like, people in Singapore are very open to meet people, or like in Web3 in general, I feel like everyone is very open to meet and have a chat. And I guess like in general, also like I encourage people to tailor their CV to the role specifically. And yeah, that already shows a lot of like commitment and effort, which I think people will appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you for your sharing. You mentioned that all the candidates should try their best at making the employers hard to say no to you, make you hireable, right? Can you share your specific experience? How did you make Circle hard not to hire you?
That's a good question. So basically, I was very persistent and committed to wanting to join this company. So I gave it all, and I basically did a lot of research about this company. I was listening to all the podcasts that were out there. I was asking around, like I was connecting to people at the company. I talked to many people to understand like what is this about, and basically prepared myself the best I could, and presented my ideas and my thoughts to people, and yeah, so I guess they were touched by my commitment to the company. So, and yeah, that was what made me successful, I guess.
What is one quality, if you can highlight, that makes you stand out among all of the candidates? Because we all know Circle is a very important company in this industry, and being able to be hired by them, you must have something unique and special, right?
Well, I can say that it definitely helped that I wrote a whole thesis on stablecoin risk management. So that gave me a very good foundation of like understanding the industry and understanding the product. So I guess that's what made me unique, because I wrote 100 pages dissertation about stablecoins.
Well, that's impressive. 100 pages. Oh my God, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. And I'm asking this from a more like an Asian perspective because I would say some of my friends, they are a little bit shy. So whenever they are trying to connect with new people, some of them will be like rejected, and then they are starting to question themselves. I was wondering, how did you deal with that? Because like as a BD, I'm pretty sure that you are, or you have already been facing a lot of rejections.
That's a very good question, and it's a valid question, because I think as a BD, you definitely have to, I guess, like, have thick skin. And also, what I can advise is, like, don't take it personal, because it's nothing personal. It's just about the job. It's not about you as a person. And how I see it is like, hey, like, if you don't want to talk to me, it's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's not personal, and that's how I see it. So yeah.
That's very good. You have an elastic heart.
Sorry, what's that?
Also, you have an elastic heart, so I think it makes you invincible.
Yeah.
Okay, that marks the end of all of my questions. I will move on to the next section. So first of all, thank you very much for all of your wonderful insights. Like, I have learned a lot from you. I'm pretty sure all of the listeners also learned a lot from you. So everybody's very amazed by your answer, for sure. Now it's time for the audience to ask Ewan questions. I gotta say that this is one of the rare opportunities for all of us to learn more about the business development role from a people who are as experienced as Ewan. So please do take this chance to ask her questions. And if you want to ask questions, please click the microphone button below and then request permission to speak. I will approve your request. And once your request is approved, you can start asking your question. And I will open one by one. So if your request is not yet approved, please wait a bit. Yeah. Everyone can start right now.
Hello, Ian. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. As an experienced BD, how would you recommend newcomers start building connection in the Web3 world?
Sorry, could you please repeat that question?
Okay. As an experienced BD, how would you recommend newcomers start building connection in the Web3 world?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, like, you always got to start somewhere, right? So I suggest you basically to just go on LinkedIn, find people that you find are interesting, whose job you find interesting, and just reach out to them, and like, add them on LinkedIn, ask them, like, hey, like, would you be keen to grab coffee? Like, I find what you do is, like, so interesting, or like, can we jump on a call? I would love to learn more about your job. And I think, like, people are generally, like, very nice about it, and they appreciate when someone finds their job interesting, and many are willing to share, actually. And to be honest, like, I think it's just a numbers game. So just do it as much as you can, and add as many people as you can. And if you want to do, like, stuff in person, then there's, like, so many networking events, and you can easily sign up to them, and then just attend them, meet people, talk to people, and learn from them. I hope that answered your question, Raymond.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. And the question door is still open. Please do jump in.
Oh, yes, I'm Liesel. Hi,
Okay.
Ewan.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. Thank you for your sharing. I have two questions. First question is, what are the key skills for BD in the Web3 world? And second question is how to analyze the marketing trend and the users' need in the industry. Thank you.
Yeah, these are very good questions. Thank you, Liesel. So the skills that you need, I would say, be open-minded, be open to speak to people. In general, just connect to people, practice connecting to people. And at the beginning, I understand that it may feel threatening, to, come up to a random stranger to talk to them. But I think with practice, you definitely can, excel this. So yeah, I think networking is a good skill to have. To your second question, could you please repeat that?
Okay. Second question is how to analyze the marketing trend and the users' need in the industry.
Understanding market trends. Basically, there's a lot of reports or a lot of news articles that come out every day speaking about how Web3 can improve certain challenges and how they can address certain challenges. So I encourage you to sign up to newspapers, or also follow the leading companies in the space, because they always talk about new challenges and new trends. And also maybe if you attend conferences, then definitely join fireside chats. They always speak about the newest trends and developments in the industry.
Okay, thank you, Ewan.
You're welcome.
Hello, Ewan. I have follow-up questions for Liesel's question. I think it's quite interesting. Because we all know that information in Web3 industry is flooded. We have a lot of new information. How did you verify which information is useful, which information is not that useful?
That's a good question. With so much information out there, I would probably pick a few trusted sources that you would go to for your, usual news consumption anyways. And also, what I highly encourage people to do is to validate with multiple sources. So if you can find one news article about something, on one, page, I would highly encourage people to double check with other sources if they say the same thing.
Great. Thank you. And the Q&A question is still open. I think there was another speaker. Please do ask your question now.
Yeah, hello, Ewan. And I'm Otis, a small influencer from Taiwan. And I have one question for you is, what are your most unsuccessful experience in BD? Or I can say is more, the most memorable experience in your BD life?
That's a good question, Otis. Most memorable BD experience. Let me think about this. I think a very memorable moment was when, when we can see that there's regulations being announced and that more institutions are trying to get into Web3. It gives me a very fulfilling moment when I see that the wider industry and institutions are, getting on the trend and even regulators are working on enabling Web3. So I think that is something that is very memorable to me.
Okay, thank you. And how about the most unsuccessful experience? Did you have a kind of this experience can share with us?
Yeah, most successful experience I can say is that when you have a challenge that you're trying to solve, in this industry, as mentioned earlier, everything is changing so fast, and there could be new ideas coming every day. And I think most successful is when you have a challenge or a problem that you're trying to solve, then you talk to many people in the industry and get their ideas, and you brainstorm together and you work on solutions together to address that challenge. I think that is a very successful and fulfilling moment for me when I am able to be creative and draft a solution for a specific challenge.
Okay, thanks for your sharing.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ewan. Since I think there's no other people request to speak, but I do personally have a question. I think it's a very good closing question. Say by myself. So since you mentioned regulation previously, so I'm actually quite interested in knowing your point of view, since we all know that the most important geopolitical issues recently is that Donald Trump won the election. And I think it's just happening today that he appointed Elon Musk as there's a new department set up by him. And I think Donald Trump is also considered as the president that is more friendly to the entire ecosystem of blockchain and Web3. How do you think it's going to change the entire, I would say, the blockchain world in the foreseeable future?
Well, that's a good question. If I had a crystal ball, I would be able to tell you the future. But yeah, I'm also curious how this will, influence the whole ecosystem and how this will progress.
Okay. So, since both of us don't have the crystal ball, we can just wait and see, and just to adjust, whatever Trump government is going to announce, right? And I think it also gives me like a flashback from the beginning. We need to be agile. We need to be flexible.
Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to pick up as well.
Great. So, everybody, the key point today that you can share with us is that if you want to be a successful BD, or if you want to be successful in this industry, be flexible, be agile, expect the unexpectations.
Exactly. Great.
Okay,
great summaries.
Okay. So right now, since we are done with the Q&A session, no more questions. So I would like to close up for today. Thank you, for your wonderful insights, Ewan. I'm sure that everybody has gained a lot of information from you and have a deeper understanding of the Web3 industry, like I did a lot. If you have any takeaways, I will kindly ask all of the participants to share them with us on Twitter. You can just share it under our post or something like that. So I would also like to mention that Mighty DAO will continue to invite Web3 professionals around the world to share their career experience, challenges, and successful tips in this industry. This interview will also be available on our podcast channel, named after Inside Web3 Careers, which can be found on Apple Podcast and Spotify. If you would like to listen again, feel free to do so. And please also share this recording with your friends as well, because I'm pretty sure Ewan's wonderful insights and our conclusion of being flexible and agile can definitely help a lot of people in Web3 world. Once again, thank you, Ewan, for this valuable insight, and thank you for all the participants for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful night, and bye-bye.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.